Volunteered there Saturday to come and help you guys out. They get 0 class credit, they get 0 financial credit. They're just here to get better, just like everybody else. So they're coming. They're going to help out because there's a lot of you and only one of me. So brought some assistance. Today we're going to talk about kind of the demands, purposes, the purpose and the demands for you guys within the defensive tactics team. And what are the foundation? What's the demands, and then how do we prepare for those demands? And what I do as a strength and conditioning coach, I've been a strength and conditioning coach for the past 12 years. I'm teaching at CSUB. I taught there for the past 7 years in the kinesiology department, teaching strength and conditioning, biomechanics, movement anatomy. That's my jam. And I also run my company, Moffat Training Systems, which delivers training programs and individualized instruction for strength and conditioning. I worked with the wrestling program at CSUB for the past 2 years. So I've worked with that side, and it's very fun. Don't work with them anymore, but doing more of my own stuff on the other side. So we'll talk a little bit about the demands. We'll talk about the need for preparation, why it is so important to prepare, and how do we prepare effectively and efficiently, because you don't have hours and hours and hours like a collegiate athlete to prepare. You have a small amount of time to get yourself ready. So how do we do that really, really efficiently without taking too much out of your body? Because the more we take out of you in the training, the less you have available for the things you need to be doing, the skill work, as well as situationally. So we'll talk about what is general preparation and what is specific preparation, and your general level of fitness, and then how do we prepare more specifically for tactical scenarios. And then we'll go through our practical. So we're going to go out in the mat room. I'm going to take you through a bunch of kind of prehab kind of exercises that are there you can do them on your own, you can do them as your warm up before you roll, things like that to take care of the neck, shoulder, low back, hips, some things to work through and that are a little bit lower on the intensity side, but more of a preventative measure. And then we'll go and do our training session. We'll get after it a little bit. We'll do some athletic stuff, some more conditioning stuff, and challenge a little bit of the mental side along with it. So I've got my students who are going to help me out a lot with that. It'll be fun, don't worry. Challenging, but fun. So my company, Moffat Training Systems, I started it in June and been running mostly online is what I do. And then I work mostly with kids in person. I work with middle school, high school, collegiate, and a couple professional baseball players mostly out of the Bakersfield Baseball Academy. And I run my whole training program through there. I've got kids like 11 years old up through some that are in the professional now. And my goal is to deliver the highest quality strength and conditioning programs and education. As an educator, I want to make sure that you can do things on your own without me. As a coach, your job is to let the athlete do their thing without you and kind of get yourself out of the way. So I want to give that education. And all my training programs follow 3 foundational principles: health, athleticism, and transfer. Number 1 is health. The healthier you are, the better you can perform, the more available you are. You get paid more, you're on duty, you can stay on duty, you're healthy. Especially long term, especially with our fitness initiative, the goal is for you to have a long, healthy retirement as well. So we're thinking long term when it comes to health. With athleticism is really our ability to move through space effectively and efficiently, and not being restricted by our own bodies, and being able to produce force, absorb force, and be athletic. As well as transfer. All the training that we do should allow you to do something better at what you need to do. You're not here to just exercise. That's not the goal. But the exercise should be a tool to allow you to do your tactical training in combat effectively, efficiently, and you're prepared for that. It's all about preparation. And so with the defensive tactics team, working with you guys, I went through your whole manual you sent me, everything kind of going through with the defensive tactics team. Some of the things that I pulled out was that your job is to enhance protection and safety. Number 1 is protection and safety of the community as well as of yourselves. So with our preparation, our goal should be to give us that foundation so that we can do so effectively. And you're the experts on that side. I will not say that that's not my expertise. The rolling, the combat, all of that, that's not my expertise. I'm gonna stay in my lane. My side is the physical preparation side. So I'll stay in my lane there. But my goal is to give you the tools so that you can do that more effectively, more efficiently, and safely. Because you're the tip of the spear. You're the highest level of standards within the department. The tip of the spear, we need to be prepared for that. The tip of the spear only matters if the whole spear can hold together. So we have to be full in our foundation. And that comes down to the training. With preparation, I follow what's called like the preparation pyramid. Up here, the tactical skill, this is all what you do. This is that tip. But we need to have that foundation as well. Your general preparation, your specific preparation, and then your skill. If we have a low level of general and specific preparation, we can't be at the top when it comes to the technical skill. We just don't have the physicality available to do so. Your general preparation, we're talking a little bit about it. This is your general exercise. So does anybody here like CrossFit, powerlifting, your general lifting weights, exercise in some way, shape, or form? That's normally your general fitness. It gives you that foundation, a level of cardio, a level of speed, a level of strength. You have that base. What I'm going to talk more about is that in between. How do we transition that general into more specific from a energy side, from a work capacity side, as well as from a strength and power side. So that's what I'm going to get into with you guys today. So we have kind of 5 pieces that go into physical preparation. One is energy systems. Energy is, like, think of that as your cardio level, your fitness level. How do we have a base level of fitness and a specific level of fitness? Your strength, your power, which power is your ability to display your strength dynamically. It's good to be strong, but if you're slow and strong, it doesn't give you all that much. You have to be able to do so dynamically. Speed, and then your mobility, your ability to move through space safely, effectively, efficiently. These are kind of our 5 pieces, and we want to be able to prepare all of those effectively. So with your general exercise, what you're doing probably right now for your general exercise, you have some kind of aerobic base, your basic cardio. Hopefully you're doing some level of basic cardio. This is like your longer duration stuff, maybe some of your intervals, what you're doing for your cardio. One that we don't often do is maybe your anaerobic power. This is kind of like your highest peak. You're going as hard as you can for 10, 30, 40, 60 seconds. That max effort stuff. If you're doing that max effort stuff, that's great. It gives us a ceiling for how hard we can go. If we don't have that high ceiling, that's a safety issue. We have to have that high ceiling. And then when it comes to specific, we want to be able to work at that high intensity for short and long periods and know how to control our energy during that and think. Have our mental ready in those stressful situations. So we're going to do that a little bit today with some of our conditioning. I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to ask each other some questions while we're going through some of the conditioning to challenge that side and give you just a taste of what that kind of feels like. And then our aerobic system, all of that base cardio allows you to recover. Individuals with higher levels of cardiovascular fitness have lower levels of stress, heart rate can stay lower, decision making is better when your heart rate is lower. So how do we modify and control our heart rate as best as we can when we're going hard and not going hard? How do we manage that? So we're going to practice a little bit of that today. From the strength side, if you're lifting weights, you're doing some kind of heavy lifting, maybe you're doing power lifting, something like that, you're getting stronger, but we have to be able to express that strength dynamically and be able to do so repeatedly. That strength, endurance side, everything. Grappling, you have to create tension, hold tension for long periods of time. How much can you create is one side, but it's how do you maintain it as well. So we'll do a little bit of that with our strength endurance circuit we'll do today. Feel a little bit of that. The ability to keep producing force over time. But strength gives us that foundation. The stronger we are, the more we have to work for later. And when it comes to power, this is often what we don't train with general exercise. Your general exercise is often lift heavy weights, lift weights a lot, trying to build some muscle, or you're doing some kind of cardio. The power is where we start moving into that athleticism piece, building an athletic foundation, being able to produce force quickly, produce force dynamically. We're going to play around a little bit with this, with our medicine balls. We're going to throw some medicine balls around. We're going to do a little bit of jumping, a little bit of landing, a little bit more explosive work to give you a taste of that, because we do have to be able to express our strength dynamically in those situations. And one of those pieces is what's called task-specific tension. So this is your ability to produce force and relax. So if you think about your sparring, you're striking, You have to be able to produce tension at the correct moment. It's not about all the time. There is that in between of how well can we relax and then produce force, as well as our ability to be explosive when we're already in a position. You're in a compromised position, how do you get out of that explosively? Okay, how do you produce that force from a compromised position? So we'll look a little bit of how to do that today with some of our demos. And then speed. Speed is the other edge of athleticism, and moving quickly, moving fast. I do want to put a little anecdote in here from the sprinting side. How many of you are sprinting at all in your training? A little bit of running? With our fitness initiative, we went through, and sprinting was one of our tests, as well as the work sample test battery. And we did find, like, doing some stats and some nerd stuff, sprinting predicted work sample test battery score. Like, it was predicted. Faster officers performed better. Slower officers performed more poorly in your job-specific test that the state says is your standard. And that was the only thing that was the only test that we ran that was predicted. Strength was kind of, but not to the level. Jumping and like explosiveness, kind of not to the level that sprinting was. So sprinting, as it is hard, it is challenging, it's one of those things that if you can do it, it gives you more availability later on. So I really recommend once a week, get out and sprint at some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be that far, it could be like here to the end of the room, but you want to have that in your back pocket, that ability to turn it on when the time comes. And then as well as rotational, being able to rotate, twist, and turn. If you're stuck in the car a long time and then you have to get into a combat situation, you don't want to be stiff in that rotation, you want to be strong in that rotation. Because that's really your ability to separate your hips and your shoulders. And if we're not training it, we're going to lose it. So we'll do some of our med ball work there, challenging some of those positions. And hopefully you can take those away and implement them in your own training. And then from a mobility side, your stretching, your general stretching that you're doing, in some way, shape, or form, hopefully you're doing some kind of stretching in general. But if not, we're going to go through some flexibility work. Flexibility is good, but flexibility without stability is a liability. If we have a lot of range of motion, but we can't control it, that's a liability for us, especially at the shoulder and the low back. So what we're gonna go through with some of our drills, looking at the hips, the shoulders, the low back, the neck, building some stability and giving you some exercises you can do at home on your own to improve those qualities. Okay, being able to move a little bit better gives us safety, as well as postural control, the ability to coordinate our shoulders over our hips. If I go a little bit too on the nerd end of the spectrum, just let me know. Yeah, I can pull it back. And then task-specific positions and our ability to recover from compromised positions, because you don't know what position you're going to get into if you're on the ground with someone else. You don't know how you're going to get in, what position you're going to get into, but we have to have that foundation of being able to move, because if we can't control it, we're not in control at all. So we'll go through some of those positions, some ways to challenge it. So hopefully that can take into your drilling and your tactical skills, and that can improve that ability. Okay, the goal for all of these physical capacities is so that you can do your job better. Okay, building your machine to make it work better. Okay. So how do we do that? What are some training methods that we can do? Some things you can implement in your own exercise regimen that can benefit these. One big one is just steady state cardio, doing some kind of extended cardio, not super high heart rate, lower heart rate, but continuous work. This is, you're going for a 30-minute jog, 30-minute bike ride, 30-minute swim, you're on the road, whatever you're doing, but you're doing it for an extended period of time at a lower heart rate. It's not that hard of work. It doesn't have to be hard. And most of the time, what I've seen, speaking with a lot of officers, it's either I want to burn it down in the weight room or I don't want to do anything. It wants to like red line or zero. Okay, the car's off or I'm redlining. There's a lot of benefit that can come from that middle edge of the zone. It doesn't have to kill you every time you work out. It really doesn't. That's going to pull back from a lot of your ability to recover. If that's every time you're in the gym, it's a red line day. So some of that steady state cardio, a lot of loaded carrying, and carrying objects, farmers carries, weight vest, carrying equipment. That builds that postural stability in different positions. The ability to control your shoulders over your hips. Heavy weight training, I do recommend lift weights heavy. Challenge yourself on that side. It's the only way to keep and maintain strength. Adding some sprinting. If you're not already adding some level of sprinting, the best way to prevent injury from sprinting is to sprint often. And most people get hurt when they haven't sprinted in a long time. So if you're going to start sprinting, start short. Start with just a little bit, like 3 or 4 sprints, maybe 5 to 10 yards, and start building that capacity over time. And then stretch in some way, like get down and get on the floor and move and stretch and go through some of those positions. From the specific set, so hopefully you're doing one or all of these in your own training. When it comes to specifically, we want to do some kind of intervals, which if you're doing something like CrossFit, you get some level of interval training in there, but it's not at the highest level and it's not at a low level. And so we want to find out in the middle. With those intervals, if we're really trying to build that cardiovascular fitness, it's all about our heart rate and where's our heart rate going. For you specifically, it's your ability to go up to high heart rates and then how fast can we pull our heart rate back down? How fast can we recover our heart rate? Because the faster we can recover, the better decisions we can make. And the sooner we're ready to go again. And so how do we control that? We'll talk about some strategies today. So loaded jumping and throwing. Medicine balls are my favorite because they don't make you very sore. It really doesn't make you sore. And it's very fun to throw objects. It's just fun. You just slam them, throw them, do some more aggressive, violent things with medicine balls. Medicine balls are made for that. When I came out and did our sprint power session with the PT staff, we threw some stuff, and that was probably their favorite part of it, was just throwing some med balls as far as they could. So adding it in, some explosive weight training, moving weights heavy, but also moving them fast. Maybe if you do something like power cleans or something like that, that's an example of a movement we can do, but we can change how we do our lifting weights so that we can get more on that power end of the spectrum. Some kind of loaded sprinting, which I do recommend. Put a weight vest on if you've been doing the sprinting, throw a weight vest on and sprint. Okay, grab some objects and sprint. And try to move fast while we're compromised from a load perspective, because that's what you're going to have to do in your job. You're always going to be carrying something else. How do we move well while we're carrying other objects? Because you can be really good at running, once you put something on your back, you're not going to be as good. But your basic level of sprinting will give you the platform to do that well when you're in more compromised positions. And some kind of agility training, some kind of changing directions, some kind of cutting and moving. Think your basic football drills where you're running around some cones, and go to the park and run around some cones. It doesn't take that, like 20 minutes, 15 minutes of change of direction work, and just getting that as a part of your routine. Okay, you can do your couple sprints, you do that, 30 minutes, you take your kid out to the park too, and you do it with your kid. Okay, that's a great way to add in some family time. I know Sergeant Beagley talked to me, he's like, yep, I've been going and running around with my kids on Sunday at the park. He's like, I've been sore ever since. Okay, but if you haven't been running at all, it's going to be a little bit soreness inducing, so start small. Start way smaller than you think. Don't burn it down. It's not about killing yourself, it's about just a little bit over time. And then some kind of dynamic stretching. I'm gonna give you a ton of drills that you can do for that dynamic side. Okay, we're gonna take you through the hips, the low back, the shoulders, the neck. We're gonna do it all. We're gonna have some fun. If any of you have a wrestling background, you're probably gonna get some throwback from some of these drills, but it'll be great for that side. My job, I just wanna be a resource for you guys. I wanna be someone that you can talk to from this edge of the spectrum. Okay, how can I help you on this side? Okay, I have put together a training program. A couple of the officers who are, Matt, I know is start on it. You get to be a trial dummy with it. I put together a program for the officer who really wants to be the high-performing physical officer that also works around your schedule. So I've put together a program. It's a 3-day-a-week program. You can work it to where it's 1 or 2 days a week. You can work it to where it's 5 or 6. You have the flexibility in the program, but it goes through, it gives you this platform for sprinting. Here's what you're going to do today. Okay, for strength and power, what are you going to do? Okay, heavy weight training, interval training, more loaded kind of carries, sleds, things like that, and some kind of steady state, longer duration cardio. And it works through all of these different days, and it's a 3-day-a-week plan. So you can just pull it up and be like, all right, what am I doing today? Click and go, and it gives you that. You know that it's going to be putting you in the right position, and you don't have to think about your training. And if you have to think about your training, that's just another thing on your plate that you already have a full plate. So how can I take that off for you? I put together one that this is more kind of advanced. I also have one that's a little bit more basic, simpler, that also does all of these same qualities, has all of the pieces, but it's just regressed a little bit lower level. So you checked it out, Matt. You've done a couple of the workouts.
Yes, I didn't know that's how it was set up. This 3
Yeah.
I'll ask you more about
Yeah.
it. But yes,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, so it gives you the opportunity. It's all run through my app, the Moffitt Training Systems app. I've got a code. You guys can hop on and try it for a month if you want for free. Gives you the chance for free to test it out, and if you don't like it, cool. If you do like it, cool. The cost is $29 a month. Like it's as low as I can get it for you guys from that end. So if you guys want to try it out, cool. If not, cool. But I'll let you guys hop on and try it out as well. Do we have any questions? I don't want to go too far into the science side because some of you maybe like were really interested, or some of you are like, no, I don't want to. I'm going to fall asleep in the middle of this. And so I wanted to make sure that I got a little bit.
What's your rest ratio like with the sprinting?
However many yards you run in intervals of 10, that's how many minutes of rest you need.
Oh, minutes.
Minutes, yeah, minutes.
Okay, so
And
you're
long
looking,
rest.
you're looking for a lot of rest.
A lot of
And
rest
then
so that you can run really, really fast. Yeah, for an example, for a sprinting session, if we did like 10 sets of 10-yard sprints, you're taking about 1 minute rest in between sprints. So the sprinting is a lot of not doing a lot and then going really hard when it's time to go hard. If you're running and then not resting very much and then trying to sprint again, you're not running as fast as you were on the first one. You're not actually getting faster. You're just getting good at running almost fast. Which speed, it does take a lot of rest. If you ever watch a track and field athlete, like a sprinter in their practice, they mostly stand around because most of their practice is rest, but when it's time to go, it's time to go. My background is in track and field. I ran track and field at Cal State Fullerton. I was an 800-meter runner, which is the half mile, the one that really, really sucks. Nobody else wants to do it, so I thought I might be good at it because it sucks, and if no one else is gonna do it, I'll try. Yeah, it's 2 minutes all out, like pretty much 2 minutes along, two laps around the track and the mile, so that was kind of my sweet spot. But when it comes to getting faster, you have to rest. You have to rest. If you want to get stronger, powerful, rest. But when you go, it's like 100% for that really short period. Yeah.
On rest, like if you just have a bad night, kids up, whatever, you're choosing sleep versus working out. What are you prioritizing that day? You moving your workout to later, getting more sleep?
Sleep, well, that could be a whole other conversation, especially with you guys. Like, sleep is important. Like, sleep is way more important than we think. But from the workout, that's why I designed the program like 3 day a week, because hopefully you can get 3 days of 30 minutes.
Nice.
Like, all of these workouts are made to be 30 to 45 minutes long. They're not supposed to take a lot out of your time. Like, really, it doesn't have to be 2 hours in the gym. It really doesn't. And it's more about the consistency week to week to week to week. So if you only get 2 days out of the week, that's fine. It's when we get 0, 0, 0 week after week, that's when it becomes an issue. That's when we're gonna start pulling ourselves. We're gonna lose a lot of what we've worked hard to build. So sleep, and then find a little bit, even if it's 10 minutes is better than 0 minutes. But sleep is important. Yes?
So, the trainer side is good, but do you, or are we supposed to like watch what we eat too, or do you give like a meal plan? Is that an option, or you just have to watch what you eat and then you focus on it?
So with this training program, it's the exercises. With my app, there is a nutrition tracking function. So in there, you can track your meals just like MyFitnessPal. You can scan a barcode, it pulls everything in there. It has all of that all in one place, and I can be a resource for you to help with that. Like, hey, can you check out what I've been eating? Where can we make some adjustments? I'm also a certified nutrition coach. I'm not a nutritionist. I can't like write your meal plan, but I can help you with strategies to make better choices nutritionally, or find where are the in-betweens that we can work around. Especially if you're working nights, like nothing is open that's good for you after about 9 p.m. So like you're not going to have it. So how do we make those adjustments lifestyle-wise to give you the best chance? It's not about being perfect, it's about what is the most feasible for you with the most positive decisions. Yeah. Yeah, the 12-ounce curls don't go in the workout. You do have to log the nutrition side. 12, 16, 20 minutes. Do we have any other questions with this? Okay, it's trying to get a variety of training because you're training for every day because it could be the one day. So how do we prepare ourselves so that we're not worried on that one day? Okay, that we're not hesitant on that one day. I've done a lot of talking with, my father-in-law is in LAPD, he's the senior lead in LAPD in Central Division. So we've been talking a lot about this, he's really excited that we're doing this here and I think we need to do that over there as well. But how do we make these decisions around your job and your life? How do we make those most positive decisions without, the more sore you are, it's gonna be a problem if you're on duty and sore. It is. So with this training and putting it together this way, the goal is for you to not be sore and still get better. You don't have to be sore to mean you're making improvements. You don't have to be sore, you don't have to be dead. You can make improvements and still feel good. And that comes with really quality structured exercise on this side. You're putting it together in a way that allows you to do everything else and this just be a piece, a small piece. But it gives you a lot on the back end. Yep, sound good? Okay, you guys wanna move around now? Tired of sitting down? I know you guys have been sitting down all day. I didn't wanna throw you right into a workout right after lunch, because I know that probably wouldn't have been a good time. Okay, let it sit for a little bit. So, we're gonna shift gears, we're gonna go over to the mat room, and we're gonna go through some of our mobility prehab exercises, and then we'll get into it.
Workout clothes will be fine.
We can move around in it. We're gonna hop on the bike. We're gonna do a little bit of
Heck yeah.
You need to